here we are. This is Sex Love Psychedelics, and I'm your host, Dr. Kat. Bringing you psychosexual conversations that will leave you intellectually turned on and hungry for more. But there was something else that you said that I caught that you say you work with people on every continent. And that makes me wonder, are there unique things that you've seen across different cultures that have informed you? Because I learn a lot from my clients around the world.
For
And I
sure.
can imagine there's different cultural things. You're like, oh, I didn't never put that together.
Yeah, look, there are definitely, and especially geographically, if we're
Yeah.
talking about, and it's interesting because that question has multiple layers.
Of course.
It's really fascinating because you will have the lens or the angle of what is available. So, access to treatment, access to information, access to knowledge
Mhm.
in different parts around the world. But then you will have preferences and values,
Yeah.
what people tend to move toward when they're experiencing challenge. And in Western cultures and Western societies, we're much more likely to focus on the physical doing
Mhm.
things that essentially are going to be necessary. And that's important. It's really important because, that's also part of what you can action. And there is absolute benefit to that. Whereas in more Eastern cultures, there is a much more open, there's openness to other factors that
Mm.
come into play. I treat often couples from India,
Mhm.
and whether they're living in India or whether they're living abroad, expats in different countries, it's really interesting to see how they tend towards the more spiritual conversations in
Yeah.
consultation. And even, people who have strong religious beliefs, how they're more likely to accept recommendations or not accept them based on their beliefs,
Mm.
their kind of religious beliefs. um, Sometimes it gets a little bit stupid, I'll be
Mm.
honest,
Mm. Mhm.
like
Yeah, you can
because
be blunt on our
like,
podcast. Yes.
and the reason for that, like I remember talking to this couple who, I won't say what religion, but
Sure.
it doesn't really
Sure.
matter. Basically, let's say that there was strong religious beliefs, right?
Mhm.
And this person, the guy, and men have this really interesting sense of like, oh, we don't have to worry. It's just going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Spiritual
Just
bypassing.
know.
I'm familiar with that one.
Spiritual bypassing, but it's also biology bypassing
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
most men think that women will be fertile forever. They
Yeah.
actually don't, they miss the biology 101 at school that actually teaches them
Yeah.
that by 50, a woman has kind of pretty much hit menopause,
Sure.
which means that 5 to 10 years before menopause, we are in perimenopause, which means hormonal imbalances are more likely. Egg quality issues are more likely to occur. And of course, reduction in the chances of achieving conception and keeping a healthy pregnancy to term, increase in the risk of having problems
Mhm.
as a woman becomes, more mature as we age. And so what happens is that because men see on the news that Hugh Hefner was having babies with Playboy bunnies,
Mhm.
who were 20 at the age of 90, they think that's going to happen for them as well. The part that they miss is that they are not with a 20-year-old play bunny or an 18-year-old play
Mhm.
bunny,
Mhm.
right? Their partner usually is their age, their partner could be even older than they are, and therefore the ability for an older sperm and an older egg to create a healthy baby decreases with time
Mhm.
in comparison with an older sperm with a younger egg
Got it. Mhm.
or an older egg with a younger sperm.
Mm.
So you see, those differences and nuances make a difference. But what most men think is that a woman hitting 38, they've started try about a year ago, and things haven't quite gone to plan, or even 41, like
Sure.
that's I
Yeah.
see that entire kind of spectrum, right? And men having a similar response, which is like, oh, it's gonna happen in time. It's like, let me just tell you, you are running out of cycles to waste. It's not that you're running out of time, but you don't have time to just kind of like, oh, it will happen if it happens. And I'm kind of like going, that's not how biology works.
Yeah.
But going back to the story and this example and this conversation that I had with this man, who was very much in this denial
Mm-hmm.
of, God is going to save us,
Mm-hmm.
like it's going to be like we don't need to have any medical intervention or any intervention whatsoever, even if it's understanding and learning how to be healthier so that we can be more fertile. We don't need any of that because God is going to make this happen. And it's
Mm-hmm.
our faith that's going to make this happen. And look, as much as I am very spiritually focused
Yeah.
personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe that there are forces beyond us that, are incredibly powerful and that create worlds,
Mm-hmm.
right? I will utilize science where it's available because it's best to do my part and
Mm-hmm.
allow the heavens to come to my aid, then completely ignore the fact that there is some agency that I need to apply in optimizing my life and my life events, and of course, my outcomes. So, this conversation very much went like this. What if, here is your life buoy, like you're about to drown, let me throw you, like something that floats so
Yeah.
that you can stay, you know, out of the water, your head can stay out of the water. And it's kind of like God is sending you that, right? And you're kind of like going, no, 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 don't worry, I don't need it. I'm just going to, like, God's going to save me. Then, still kind of like drowning and whatever else. The helicopter comes, let me help you, let me take you out of
Uh-huh.
the water, let me rescue you. No, 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 don't worry. God is going to save me. Then the ship comes, let's rescue you. No, God's going to say, you drown,
Yeah.
you die. You die, you go to heaven, right? And whilst there, you say, but I was a God-fearing man and, I
Mm.
did all the right things. Why did you not save me? And then God goes, well, I sent you the boy, I sent you the helicopter, I sent you the ship. What else do you want me to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that there is that aspect. And so there is this tendency, just going back to your question, of like people kind of relying on what they believe
Uh-huh.
and what they know. And
Yeah.
sometimes that is wonderful because they have a level of adaptive thinking
Uh-huh.
that enables them to go, okay, let me keep learning about what else there could
Yeah.
be if I'm not quite where I need to be yet.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas other people have less of a tendency toward adaptive thinking.
Mm-hmm.
They have more of a tendency towards distortions, cognitive distortions,
Sure.
and kind of mind traps, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, where they feel like, things are just the way that they are, and I just have to keep going along with it.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the kinds of things that I see that, really do either support people on their
Mm-hmm.
journey when things haven't been easy, and we all have a tendency towards kind of like holding on to the things that we already know and trust and the
Mm-hmm.
beliefs
Yeah.
that we hold. When we are struggling towards things, it's harder for us to accept that, hang on a second, maybe it is what I don't know
Yeah.
that's getting me stuck,
Yeah.
or
Which is
keeping me
vulnerable.
that way.
Yeah, it's so
Absolutely,
vulnerable. It's like
100%.
the balance of action and receptivity. The acceptance of I'm allowing to what happened to happen, right? And then the action here. But it's so vulnerable to say I don't know what I don't know. That I don't know something. And what I
Yeah.
see
And
sometimes
to
in
not even
this,
think about the fact that there is something that I don't know,
yeah,
you
or I have
know,
to learn
that
something new. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
because it's like, oh my God, maybe I'm inadequate. Maybe this is happening because I'm a bad person and because I don't know
right.
enough. And I think that again, that upbringing that we also hold,
Mm-hmm.
right, is going to dictate how we access support
Mm-hmm.
in times in our life where things aren't easy, not
Mm-hmm.
just fertility, but in
Mm-hmm.
every aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a huge difference too.
Well, that was fun. Thanks for tuning in, lovers. And if you want to experience more ecstasy and sexual liberation, head over to sexlovepsychedelics.com and learn about how you can join me for any one of my online or live events. And while you're there, grab my free guide on sex and psychedelics. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please contact your healthcare provider and local law before pursuing any of the products or psychedelics discussed. And one final note here. I make this show specifically for you. If you're loving the show, then be sure to leave me a review in iTunes or Spotify to let me know. Happy to be here and happy to serve. I'll see you next time on Sex, Love, Psychedelics.